Hey, what's going on, guys? It's King Andy here, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Clash Cup podcast. I'm joined once again with Zimster and Destiny, and we're going to be talking about week 5 of the Clash Cup and some other things. So, what's happening, guys?
Not much, man. Excited to cover this week and, just take a look at everything that happened.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be here once again.
Great. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, but before we do that, let's take a look at the standings. So, as of week 5, Instinct NA is currently first in Group A, Intellectuals is first in Group B, and PRG is first in Group C. So, are these teams that you guys expected to be first? Are there any surprises?
I wouldn't say surprises because Intellectuals has been performing pretty well. And then was it Rising Sun that had the week off as well? So, yeah, it makes sense that they're still holding on to first. And I've been saying that PRG and EGS are strong teams. So the fact that one of them is first, again, it's not really a surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing really surprising here. Undefined is, of course, in third because they had the week off. So they didn't play any of their matches. But yeah, Instinct NA, they finally lost their first match against Funny Bones.
Yeah, it was a close match.
Yeah, really close. Not surprised about the top 3 for that. Same with Intellectuals. Their 1v1 pairs of Allah and Kasim have been performing really well, and they definitely deserve that first spot. And same with PRG and EGS Phoenix. They're just really dominant and really good right now.
Yeah,
I think most changes have been more mid-table this time around. Like teams are starting to kind of sort themselves out.
Yeah, Evolve moved up like a spot or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure Blitz have started to make their way back after their break.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give a small recap of week 5. So, Synergy against Luciu, they had a really good week, especially since they made changes to their lineup. Like Link was putting King of the Hill this time instead of 2v2, and he ended up sweeping, which is really great. And their 1v1s have been really solid. Both their 1v1 players swept. They lost to 2v2, but from what I was told, it was just bad deck selection. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like Link, of course, made a really smart decision, putting himself in King of the Hill. Yeah, I mean, it was really beneficial. Like you just said, he swept everybody. 2v2 though, they are still really struggling. So I don't know. Like one of the things we'll mention later on is like a dark horse team. I feel like they really have to fix their 2v2 though. I don't know, switch some more members up if they have to, but other than that, I think Synergy is doing pretty well and should be doing pretty well from here on out.
Yeah. Link was putting, many people say no, they're two strongest players in the 2v2, but it wasn't really working out either way. So yeah, it's definitely good that he kind of broke that and saw the pattern. And now they're starting to win some sets, get some sweeps in.
Yeah. The next match is Blitz versus Tribe. And this was like a super intense match. It was a final score of 9-5, but like the games were really close, especially the 1v1s.
Yeah.
2v2 was dominant, but yeah.
I was just gonna say, and we were lucky to get that one on stream. So it was really back to back. Both teams had the edge at different points, and the matches themselves were really, really entertaining.
Yeah, definitely.
And Destiny, you actually played in this match, so
yeah,
you weren't supposed to, but you came in as a sub and you came in clutch.
Yeah, I know.
You were able to win your set.
The stream times took some of us off guard, especially Yolier, because I know he's not in the same time zone as us. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. I'm surprised that they didn't put phase up for 1v1 though. Not gonna lie. Although I like phase up and Borlax have some pretty good decent chemistry, but again our 2v2 duo is just really really strong. So I think it would have been better if phase up played 1v1. But yeah, the 1v1 matchups were really really tight. I I choked that first matchup really badly. Totally forgot that Baller had Mega Knight, and Balkeith is performing at an insane level. I would put him up with Alan Kasim. He doesn't crack under pressure. He'll usually take losses early in the sets, but after that he's just completely dominant and completely locked down. King of the Hill was a little bit of a disappointment though. I thought Shamix was gonna work his magic again and get us the 3 points, but it didn't happen. Their King of the Hill player was really really good and just like completely dominated after that. But yeah, definitely a pretty good 9-5 win for us. And Tribe definitely still has some good players though, but I feel like again 2v2 is what really kills like most teams in my opinion, because you can have like a really good 1v1 in King of the Hill, but they're just really um taking for granted the importance of those 4 points, I believe, or aren't making um enough adjustments for 2v2 or taking the time to plan out deck selections and other little tiny things that you would want to focus on in 2v2. But yeah, it was still a pretty good win for us, Blitz, and hopefully we continue this forward.
Yeah. And the last match I want to talk about is Funny Bones versus Instinct NA. So this was obviously a really close match. The final score ended up being 8-7. We'll get to that. The 2v2 was really good in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because I played in the 2v2 and won it. It's just because everyone has been saying Instinct NA had the best 2v2 duo. And then me and Cars, we just went in and we won the first game. We switched decks, which we shouldn't have, and which made us lose the second game. Then we repeated the deck that we used in game 1 in the last game, and we ended up winning.
Yeah.
So it was a great match. Then the 1v1, unfortunately, Dermav lost 1-2. It was really close. Darian is just really good with this hog deck. And CB won his 1v1 set against Isaac King. He won that 2-0. And then King of the Hill was where there was a little bit of controversy. Acoustic Vocals got DQ'd. And then Legendary Tony swept our entire King of the Hill lineup. So realistically, the score is 7-7, but because of that one DQ, it made it 8-7. So honestly, like, I feel like most people will say that's a tie, but it's like whatever. We still did really well against them. We didn't think we'd do that well, but yeah, we did better than we expected. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it was definitely good games. I think I watched the 2v2, and then their 1v1s. They were like the only players at the top of the rankings win rates that were like undefeated, 6-0. But Isaac King is now 6-2, and Darian will be what 8-1. So
yeah, he took a loss.
Yeah. So I know we're gonna talk a little bit about all the awards later, but yeah, I had my eye on both of them just because they were really close to getting eligible for an award.
Yeah, King of the Hill is insane. Your Legendary Tony is an absolute god at just King of the Hill. It's insane. I feel like, I don't know, but like, I feel like Surgical J is like kind of losing his spot now for King of the Hill god that he used to have.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten a sweep this season.
Yeah, right? It's insane. But yeah, that was a really really critical sweep though for Instinct NA and King of the Hill. After that DQ, but I mean, yeah, they just have like really really stacked players. Like I'm pretty sure those two guys that were mentioned, Acoustic Vocals and Tony, were around like the 8K range of last season. So I mean, they just have really really stacked players for King of the Hill, and yeah, like you said, they had one of the better 2v2 duos that they bragged about, and you and Cars just got the job done really well with those with those insanely weird decks. But yeah, it was still really good set of matches, and yeah.
Although I think Oso has the best win rate on their 2v2 because I think they're like 9 and like 6 or something.
Yeah, I believe Oso do have the best.
Because they're ranking 2v2 up at the top of our player rankings in terms of win rates.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're being really slept on 2v2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've only lost one 2v2 set against Instincts, but everyone else they've taken down.
Mm-hmm.
Any other matches you guys want to talk about? I kind of want to go over Evolve versus Intellectual.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially against the set against Allah versus Son Goku. I did not expect Son Goku to beat Allah, honestly. And like against Kenda Swagger versus Kwasim, I would thought at least it would have been a close like 2-1, but Kwasim just went in there and swept 2-0, which is kind of surprising. And then
2v2 they lost, in Electuals.
Yeah, Evolve won 2v2. And King of the Hill, I don't think it was a sweep or anything. I believe it was a 3-2 final score. So, yeah, they ended the week at 9-7, which is pretty... Evolve won 9-7, which is pretty good for them.
Yeah, and what was pretty interesting is, like, but Shaw used to play for Intellectuals 2v2, I'm pretty sure. Like, his name was, like, the True Gamer, like his in-game name.
Yeah, it was him and MLG.
Yeah, and then he just reversed roles, and
now they're on like different teams.
And got him up. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I guess in a sense, because like there are some tendencies, I believe. Like I know for at least me and Shadow, like what we like to do. So maybe he knew what MLGs is like to do, like especially at the beginning of matches, and just like went on from there. And he probably like communicated with Joker better, and they got the dubs. So that was really interesting. But yeah.
All right. So let's move on to talking about the teams who you think will have like the title contention. Whoever you think is going to be able to win at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go over my top 3. We'll see if you guys agree or disagree. But number 1, I have Undefined. Number 2, I have Instinct EU. And number 3, I have Instinct NA. So my reasoning for having Undefined first, because they've just been dominant all season, or up to this point. I don't think they're undefeated so far. So I think everyone has their eye on them. I believe they're gonna make it far in playoffs, and yeah, I put Instinct EU because they have a lot of strong players. Like they have a really strong 2v2 duo. They have a lot of strong 1v1, like divided by 0. I do think they're gonna be able to go far in playoffs as well. But like, they had a rough week this week because I believe they got like 2 sets DQ'd, which is like 2v2, and like I believe it was one of the 1v1. So like, they're gonna have to like pick like come back like next week and like show up to their matches, because like if they make playoffs, they can be a serious threat to the other teams. So yeah. And for Instinct NA, I believe they have like one of the best 1v1 players in Group A at least. They've just been really solid, and yeah, I don't think that, I mean, like, based on the standings now, if they keep on getting like at least, I don't know, 8 points each week, they should be able to secure a spot in playoffs. But if they continue to slack, they could miss playoffs. It's a huge possibility, but yeah, if they do make playoffs, I think they're gonna go like at least semifinals. What about you guys?
Well, it's a little bit different, although we do have Undefined in common. But personally, I got my eye on Group A just because there's a lot of teams in there that they've been around for at least like a season, or some of them 2, or like Funny Bones all 3 seasons. So they know the format a lot better, and I do think that gives an edge. It's like last season playoffs, like all of Group B was taken out in the first round. So I have Undefined, like you said, they're very consistent and they've been very dominant. And then their roster last season was strong, and this season it's even more stacked. So it is a really strong team. I see them finishing top 2. But then I put in your team down there, Funny Bones, as another title favorite, because you guys have the most experience, I think, out of all the teams, being here from the start. And then playoffs, you guys already understand how it all works, So I think that experience is going to give you guys an edge. And then I know a lot of teams will sleep on some of you guys because, the not as well known as others. And if they sleep on some of these teams, they're going to be in for a surprise. Third team, though, I went with EGS over at Group C, just because I've been watching them, and I know they're third place right now, but their match isn't complete. And they've been doing strong, and they've been delivering, I think. So I feel like that consistency is similar to what Undefined has, and I get the feeling they might be able to keep up with everyone.
Yeah. I have undefined as number one as well. Like all of you guys said, like they're just way too stacked. I mean, they're way better than they were last season, and even last season they were really really stacked as well. So I mean, they can just like swap like players in and out for any set, like 1v1, King of the Hill, 2v2. So I see no flaws in their team, and they should definitely finish with yeah, probably the most amount of points or the second at least. But my number two, even though I do hesitate to say it, is gonna be intellectuals. Only because, in the playoffs you can play in like more than one set after the 2v2 and 1v1, of course. And I think Kasim has just been playing absolutely out of his mind right now. I feel like honestly, ever since he joined the space station clan and like went to CWA and everything, that man's just been playing on a whole nother level. He's improved like greatly, a lot. Um, just again the 1v1 pair of Allah and Kasim is just really strong, but Kasim is just one of those guys that can absolutely dominate and show no flaws whatsoever. Like we saw against Kenda Swagger, Kasim just completely went over him. Main player right there in Kenda Swagger. So Intellectuals definitely has a shot, but again, I am worried about 2v2. If they fix up 2v2, then I would definitely have them up there with Undefined as pretty strong contention for the cup. And for third, you already know I gotta put Blitz. I
Yeah.
definitely gotta put Blitz in. We have all the pieces. I mean, like, there's nothing really about our game that's lacking. Our 2v2 is really, really strong. I would say it's up there with like Instinct NA or Instinct EU that they brag about. I mean, those guys have like one of them has played in No Tilt Worlds
Yeah.
for Russia. So like, and the two that we have right now just have really good communication, really good synergy together. So there's very little flaws in their gameplay. For 1v1, we have Valkeith. He's just really, really strong. He's just getting better and better and better. As time goes on. So it's really cool seeing him develop as a 1v1 player. And for King of the Hill, we can pretty much interchange about anybody. Myself, Shamix, who was really, really good for like reverse sweeps or just taking the load of everything in King of the Hill. Shadow, Eddie, Yoliar, all those guys as well. I mean, we can definitely do a lot of interchanging here and there for 1v1 in King of the Hill, and I still think we have like all the pieces that we can just put together and make a deep run for the
Yeah,
cup
and
again.
I mean, it's like the three title favorites, right, for each of us. But like you said, there's a lot of teams that are pretty stacked, and
Yeah,
almost every
definitely.
team has like at least one or two top players. So playoffs is definitely not just going to come down to three teams, that are just dominating everyone. I think there's going to be more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about intellectuals for a little bit. I know you said they have Allah and Qasim, and they can play in multiple sets in playoffs, which could give them an edge against most teams. But like, if they get to the finals, and let's say like Allah and Qasim do win their sets and they lose like their other sets and they go to King of the Hill, they're only going to be able to play, yeah, King of the Hill, obviously, but it's going to be 5v5 King of the Hill. So do you think it's good to put all that pressure on them? Because like, I'm not saying that the players aren't that good,
Yeah.
but Alan and Quasim are like really good, and if they get hard countered, that's it, they're out. So like, do you think it's like a lot of pressure on them to carry like a 5v5 King of the Hill?
Um, yeah, I would say so actually. I mean, like almost everybody knows that they're like the best players on their team right now. And I mean, yeah, like you said, because like King of the Hill in the final is 5v5. So like against like let's say Undefined for example, if in that side of the bracket they get matched up with them, then yeah, they pretty much have to be perfect or get really really lucky with matchups, and there will be a lot of pressure on them as they face really high octane teams that have really good King of the Hills and really good players in general. Um, but again, like I've seen Kasim like sweep teams like it's nothing. So like I mean,
Yeah,
anything's possible. Anything's possible, of course. 5v5 will be an extended period of time though. They might get restless. There is a prize pool as well that might get bigger. Who knows? Who knows? I might chip in some money as well. But yeah, we'll see. The stakes will be high, but again, Kasim and Allah, like I still definitely think they can handle the burden. They can handle the load. But yeah, it'll just be interesting to see once we reach to the finals. But for me, they're still the top of my list for cup contention.
yeah. Who do you guys think is the biggest dark horse?
Who do you want to go first?
Well, like last week I was gonna say Oso, but I kind of changed my mind right now. Like, I mean, Oso has a really good 2v2. Like, it's insane how they developed that 2v2 just over the course of like one season, basically less than 1 month if you really think about it.
Yeah.
How they just made that change and how the synergy has just been insane. But other than that, they only have Carlos really, and their King of the Hill. Well, like their King of the Hill is better with Carlos, but he hasn't been exceptionally dominant. He has won them at least 1 point.
Yeah.
But like like nothing, no like 3-0 sweep or anything, or no, good comeback in King of the Hill. So they are really relying on 2v2 and Carlos, who is a really good top like 1K player and all of that. But yeah, I don't know, but honestly, for Group A at least, I'm leaning towards Synergy, because if they just get the pieces right together, if they find a good 2v2 duo, then they can definitely go all the way and try to secure a fourth seed in the group for for our Group A, and they can definitely do some damage in the playoffs. They have the players to do it. They just gotta. I just think like again, it just boils down to lineups, and if they can figure that out, then they will definitely be my dark horse for the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Synergy is like, if any team in group out of all the teams Group A, I think Synergy is like he has the best shot at making it far.
I think because I was looking at that question, like out of all the teams that are most likely to make playoffs, who my dark horse is, and I think I would go with Evolve, just because out of Group B you kind of have Midwinter and Instinct as like a bigger name, I guess, and then Intellectuals was here longer, so we know them better. So when the season started, I to be honest, didn't know much about Evolve, but seeing them play, and they started at the bottom half and they've been working their way up. Definitely have my eye on them. I think that if they make playoffs, they'll put in a good fight, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them at the semis or even facing off against someone else in the finals.
My dark horse pick would be probably Tyranny. Probably it's like, yeah, they made playoffs last season, but they lost in the quarterfinals. But I think they've learned their mistakes this time around, and I think they're gonna not get eliminated in the first round. That's what I'm gonna say. I mean, they're not looking too bad on the standings. They're about, I believe, 5th place, but I think they've like learned the lessons from last season, and they're able to come back. Because last season, I'm pretty sure they were like really like cocky against Intellectuals, and they ended up losing. But this season, they've learned to take every team seriously, and yeah, they have really strong players like Amar, Noah, and a really solid 2v2 duo. So yeah, I think they have what it takes to make it far. All right, let's go ahead and talk about teams that haven't met your expectations this season.
I would go with Midwinter, just because I remember when they were announced that they were joining the league and their roster was submitted, everyone was freaking out because there's who's it, Wings? It was like CRL experience, and then what's Venom? Yeah, I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, it's over. But then you look at the table. I mean, we're halfway through, and they're 27 points. They're 6th place. Chaos is like 2 points behind, and then they've got 4 points between them and Evolve, and then 6 points between them and Ulti. So they're falling behind slowly but surely. I think roster wise, that's one of, if you have like a guy like Wings at the King of the Hill, you got Venom at 1v1 set, and then there was a third player for the 1v1. A lot of people thought that was like guaranteed like sweeps or at least like wins. So the fact that they're so low right now is kind of worrying.
Yeah, they've actually been struggling. Part of me like puts it on the captain because their lineups have been questionable. Like in my opinion, at least. Obviously, I don't know as much about his team, about the team as much as he does, but I would have put like at least like Wings and King of the Hill and like Venom in a 1v1, just to have those like solid 1v1 players out. But they've been like, I believe during week 1 they put like all of their strongest players in King of the Hill, and the first guy just ended up sweeping. So those 2 players didn't even play, and they lost the 1v1 set. So I don't know. They're gonna have to change things around if they're because it is entirely possible that they're gonna miss playoffs. So I think they're gonna have to like change things up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I definitely completely agree. I remember everybody was like losing it when Midwinter and all their players first joined the server. We made there's what is it, separate channels for those players as well, and it was like really funny. But yeah, definitely because like with Wings and Venom, everybody thought it was over for 1v1 or King of the Hill at least, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like a really small part of me thinks that like they're not taking this Clash Cup seriously enough. Because with some of the DQs that like they had time for everything to plan this, and same with the captain with like making lineups and stuff. First week was really, of course, like really questionable lineups that he put in. But like again, I don't know. I feel like in a small sense, it's almost like an unwillingness to participate. They did what is it? They do also have like other leagues that they participate in as well, other competitions. Team Wars is also getting really big, so they do that as well. But I don't know. I just feel like that in a pretty good sense is part of the reason why that they haven't been performing that well. But again, they definitely have the players to go far in this cup, but so far they've definitely not met anybody's expectations, I believe, for being in 6th place in Group B.
Yeah. So going back to like talking about teams in each group, which group do you think has like the most strongest teams? Like which is the most stacked group? Like last season, like it was obviously Group A because every single team in Group A moved on to the next round, like the ones that made playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like this season is a lot more. All the groups are more even in terms of skill, but I still do lean towards Group A. I don't know.
No, yeah, I lean toward the same way as well. Because like we all stated like earlier before, Undefined is like most definitely probably the strongest team in all of Clash Cup that we have right now. You could also make the case for Instinct NA. Funny Bones was champions last season. Blitz was the champions before that. I mean, just from the history, and I believe just the absolute dominance that Undefined has shown so far in Clash Cup, I am definitely leaning towards Group A. Group B is probably close up there with them. Um, but like I said, just Blitz, Undefined, Funny Bones, Instinct, NA. Just really strong, dominant teams with good lineups and everything. So I'm definitely leaning towards Group A as probably being the strongest group out of all the
and
3
then
groups this season.
like with Group B, the only thing is to keep in mind is every team will end up with 11 free points because of Riot. That kind of I think they're in the process of like dissolving and stuff.
Yeah,
so
unfortunate.
They exited a lot earlier than they anticipated. So like intellectuals, they're at 44, but they've earned 33 points, and then maybe they would have beaten Riot, but we won't know at this point. But as it stands, 11 of their points are free wins. So not to take away credit from the teams because they still play 7 other games, but in terms of like comparison, the other groups have to play 1 extra match and earn 11 more points. And I think it kind of shows, like, if you look at their standings, that's the top 3 kind of farther away from everyone else.
Yeah, Intellectuals has like
Intellectuals has like a really big lead right now, and but you look at like Group C and it's a lot more tight. Like I think Rising Sun is in 6th place and they're like 8 points from first, so that could still change very quick. Same with Group A. Tribe is 6th place and they're 10 points from first. So I do think Group A is the strongest. any team can win at least like 2-3 sets and pull off an upset. And even though like those two they're at the bottom, and I don't think they have a realistic opportunity anymore to make playoffs. But they can definitely still play like
definitely not.
spoiler, and put some other teams in a bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Especially if they face Blitz next, and if Blitz doesn't like take them seriously, they could like realistically pull off an upset and like ruin Blitz's chances of making playoffs. So like before we go, I just want to talk about one more thing. It's basically like about the awards. So like Zim does most of the awards. So like, do you want to talk a bit how you like distribute those? How do you decide?
Sure.
Who
I'm
gets
gonna
which
pull
award
up
every week?
the awards real quick, but we do quite a few different things, and I know like you've helped me and a few of the other guys that are admins here. We will kind of brainstorm different things over the seasons. So in terms of teams, at the end of the season, once all the matches are done and we move on to playoffs, the team that wins that ends the season with the most points, we give them the award of the season champ. So as you play 7-8 weeks, maybe you don't win the finals, but you were the most consistent team. So that's still pretty noteworthy in my opinion. So there's 26 teams this season.
Mm-hmm.
The team that ends with the most points out of 26 will take that award home. Then of course, like there's the playoffs. Whoever wins that is like the official league champion. And if the team happens to win them both in the same season, they end up with the most points, and then they beat everyone in playoffs. We kind of dub them, was it Supreme Champions, right? Because they managed to pull off both wins. With teams, that's about it. Other than that, then we have like individual player awards, which just kind of make it more fun to follow all the matches. We have Team of the Week, which is what it sounds like. Basically, we try to watch as many of the games as we can, and then we have our list of players that performed extremely outstanding in 2v2, 1v1, and King of the Hill. So things that we usually keep in mind, or that I usually keep in mind, is like who they faced. So if you faced a 2v2, your opponent was a really strong opponent, and you happen to pull off the upset, that's a lot of points for you. If you had a really bad matchup, sometimes that's taken into account. And then consistency. So if you're a team or a player that's just winning week after week, you're going to rack up the wins, and that's also going to draw the attention. So it's kind of like a combination of all three things. There's 2v2 duos that are chosen. There's 3 1v1 players that are chosen. And then we call it the janitor, because you got to sweep King of the Hill. So if you pull off that sweep, no free wins, no DQs, then you make the list automatically. So that one, sometimes it's just like 2-3 players. Other times, I think the most we've had is like 6 players sweep. So all of those guys make the list. And then from that list of players that made like 2v2, 1v1, or King of the Hill, we'll take one, and that's the week MVP, the player that was the most crucial for his team. So that guy's the week MVP. Like last week, it was Kenda Swagger and Roth from Evolve. They played like a really crazy match. Like if you guys watched that one was really intense. And it was like a really clutch win. And so they made the 2v2, and then additionally they were week MVP. And then from there, the other weekly player award is the captain, because they put in a lot of work. They got to come up with the lineups, and some of them are players as well. So extra credit for them, for pitching in a lot of work for their teams. So when they've got a team that's running really well, or they have like an outstanding week, again, we take one captain, and he's the captain of the week. So that's like weekly awards. Then from there, we still have milestones that players can shoot for like throughout the season. So the Denario award is like winning 10 matches in one cup, and I think we're very close. Like there's players with 9 wins, so if they were to win next week, at least one more game, they'll be given that award for making that list of like winning 10 plus games. So a few players have won that. The one that no one has won in all 4 seasons, and I don't know if anyone's going to take it this season, is the Invicto Award. The Invicto Award, that one, it's basically staying undefeated. But to be eligible, you also have to win at least 6 sets. So, because sometimes some guys, they're kind of like subbing in and out, and they'll maybe just play like 2-3 sets in the whole season, and they'll go undefeated. But so you got to win at least like 6 sets. And we've had people that have come close. Last season, we had Kyle from Blitz, who was very close. And then Beakfist time from Undefined, who was like the closest. I think he's like the only...
He was actually eligible. Yeah. But then
he's like the only guy that actually made it to 10 wins, right?
He was actually... He was 10-0. Then lost to Kyle.
Yeah, so that...
in the final. I believe Kyle lost like his first ever match as well. So he was like 10-1 for like a really long time. Like he always had that one loss, and then he took another loss.
So the Invicto Award, up to this point, no one's won it. It's still like whoever wins it will be probably next season because got 2 guys that were the closest were from Instinct NA this time around, who were 6-0. But they both lost this week. One of them lost like both sets or matches, and the other one lost 1. So that's enough. That's the thing. It's like it only takes 1 match. You have 1 bad matchup. You get hard countered once or something, and there goes that. So we're still waiting for our first winner.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Quasim like getting close
for this season?
Because I don't think he lost a match yet.
I think
I could be wrong though. Yeah, this season. I could be wrong.
I think he lost 1.
We could pull up week 4
1.
stats.
Maybe
real quick because I know he's at the top.
And I believe it's still possible for someone to get it. Like Legendary Tony, I don't think he lost because he swept us this week, and I believe like Instinct NA has like at least one person sweeping every single team.
And there's there's still 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks. So this season's a little bit longer, and because of that, there's like a little bit more chance that someone will have be like a sub and start the season late or something and end up winning it. But I mean, until now, no one's like super close where they're they're like 1 set away or something.
Yeah, in playoffs you can play in 2
that's
sets,
the thing, if you're eligible for the Invicto Award, that means you're performing very well. And if you're performing very well, your captain and team are going to want you to play consistently. So you're always like very exposed. Like it just takes 1 match for you to lose. So that's why it's so tricky,
Yeah, Kasim is actually 4-0. He will be 6-0 because those were last week's stats. So he's actually technically undefeated, and I think he's the only one eligible for the Invicto Award.
Yeah. So we'll see. He might prove me wrong and be the first guy to take that. So I definitely will make a big make a lot of noise over that.
And also keep in mind he also got a free win last week.
Oh yeah.
So
no, they don't.
Yeah, and free wins don't count for that, right?
Yeah. So those are like the different awards we have throughout the season. Then at the end of the season, this time around we have like the team of the season. So I think the way we're gonna do it this time around, last time was with votes. This time we're gonna use some of the analysts because on our Discord we have a few players or just guys like me that are just watching. We kind of talk about everything that's going on. So a few of the more active ones are gonna form like a little group, and based on like all the results and stats, kind of pick like who was the captain, 1 2v2 duo, 3 1v1 players, and then like a couple King of the Hill guys. So that's like the team of the season, you know, who were the best ones throughout the season. There's also the Cup MVP. Again, at the very end, like last time went to Beakfist. And then Rookie of the Season. So anyone that's debuting this season, they're eligible. So based on their stats, you know, one of them will take that. And I think that's about it, right? Yeah. So we track all of this stuff. Up till now, I counted 108 different winners. So in all 4 seasons, you know, we've had 800 or 108 different players that win at least one award. So we'll see.
It's awesome. So, do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up here? About week 5 in general?
It was pretty entertaining to actually play for once. Just being called up last night. I was trying to. It was funny because I was trying to watch the stream, and like it wouldn't load for some reason. And then like Shadow pinged me saying if I could play, and then there I was. So it was pretty fun. It's pretty entertaining. Yeah, I mean we saw like Synergy, like we said before, definitely have a dominating win over LSU, and I feel like they're definitely a team that can be watched moving forward. You know, and there's just definitely just some movement all around. Intellectuals, of course, getting the 11-point boost with Ryoth not being there, and PRG still being dominant, but still a lot of matches left to be played. You know, throughout the remainder of the weeks. But yeah, really fun week 5 to watch and to see some of the streams. And I mean, yeah, just be excited to see what happens.
Yeah, this was like our actual midpoint week, right? Like, they played 4 weeks before this, and there's 4 more weeks left. So after this point, you know, every week will either make or break a team. Like, there's going to be teams that are just going to start getting their playoff hopes are kind of over. So everyone's got to really tighten up, and you can't really fool around anymore if you want to make the playoffs.
So yeah, that's basically going to do it for this video, guys. I'll have these guys' Twitter, YouTube channels, whatever, down in the description.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, thanks again for coming on, guys.
Right, thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.